Hi team, we run Coach Alexa here, coach for Reading, South Oxfordshire and online. I love reading books in general, particularly books related to sport and running, and I always think it's an interesting one to branch out into other sports because there are so many parallels in terms of the training. Aspects of training, aspects of nutrition, but also one of the areas that fascinates me the most at the moment is around sort of psychology, sports psychology, and how that impacts different sports as well. And there are huge numbers of parallels across different sports, particularly around the psychological aspects. So recently, I read this book. It's by Amy Fuller, who's a two-time Olympic snowboarder, called Fear Less, Live More. And it's a fascinating book. So a lot of it is telling her story of, how she was very into motocross, motorcycling when she was younger, trampolining, got into snowboarding, late compared to other athletes. So she's a British athlete, so we don't really have consistent snow and amazing mountains in this country like they do in France or Austria or Italy. So it's a really interesting sort of professional sports journey. But also she writes it from the perspective of managing fears and what positives can come when you can keep those fears under control. So there are lots of useful tips in there about staying in the moment, about managing negative thoughts, about mentally preparing for things, so that the benefits of visualization and kind of practicing things from a safe point of view using visualization and gradually working to expand your comfort zone. So whilst she's doing something that I think I would be way too terrified to do, which is do a double backflip going at speed down a mountain on a snowboard, but there are lots of things that I think you can take away and use for running. And in fact, one of the final chapters is about her running her first marathon and how marathon running obviously is quite different on a sort of fear scale potentially from doing a double backflip on a mountain on a snowboard, but how she used a lot of those mental techniques that she learned from her professional snowboarding career to help with her running as well. So really useful book. I would recommend if you fancy kind of reading a little bit outside the running sphere. And she's also a fantastically positive and quite sort of inspirational sporting presence on social media as well, if you fancy someone to follow. Happy running.